Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and can you believe I've owned this car for 9 years? So I made a couple YouTube videos in 2016. I didn't really start this channel to 2017, but the first video I ever made, because it was a sad day to sell it, first world problems I know, was my 1995 NSX black and tan that I sold to buy this car. So I've owned this car since 2016, so I'm filming this in 2025, so it is now 9 years old. Previous to that, I had a black on tan 1995, and I bought that in 2012. So I've had NSX ownership now for 13 years. And if I knew these cars were going to double and triple in value, I would have locked away this blue one in a museum somewhere or in storage and driven the heck out of the black one. So let's talk about these cars. This is an Acura NSX, and if you live in the United States or Canada, so North America, it's an Acura NSX. If you live anywhere else, Japan, Europe, South America, anywhere, any country you name, it's a Honda NSX. So I even see reviews here in the United States, and they talk about you should get an Acura or a Honda NSX. No such thing. In the United States and Canada, it is only an Acura NSX, and everywhere else in the world, including Japan, it's a Honda NSX, and there's no difference but the badge. It really depends if Acura exists in your country or not. So these came out in 1991 and they were $65,000. So I'm going to loop the 9 years ownership of this and the 4 of the other car and tell you what it cost to run, what the values were back then, what I bought this car for, what I bought the black car for, what they're worth today, what I've spent on maintenance, any issues with these cars, and of course why you should buy one. So these cars came out in model year 1991 here in the US, Acura NSX, for $65,000. So to give you some context, the Viper that came out a year later in model year 1992 was $50,000. So this was $15,000, so significantly more than a Viper. A Viper had 400 horsepower. This in its original guise, what we call an NA1 NSX, which was 91 to 96, that car had 270 horsepower and a 5-speed manual, and automatic was available. They made 8,900 of these cars, 8,900 from 91 to 05. They sold 3,100 the first year. So it was a popular car the first year, forgive that plane overhead. A very popular car the first year, and it was over sticker. People paid way more than $65,000 to get one. And there were a lot of car magazine stories, people driving these cars across country. Unlike the Viper that would overheat or break down or you'd crash it because it had no stability control or traction control. This doesn't have stability control, but it has traction control. The original wheels were 15 in the front, 16 in the back. By the time they got to this 02 facelift, which are the final 4 years, 02 to 05, these are now 17-inch wheels. Now, I've owned this car for 9 years. I put fresh set of tires when I bought the car, and then I put a set of tires last year or the year before, and it was very hard to put tires on this car because you have a high sidewall and nobody has 17-inch tires anymore. So I had to basically get autocross tires. So these are Falcon Azzanis. Supposedly when they wear, they get really loud, so we'll see if that happens with this car. You know, I've been waiting all day for the sun to come out, and the sun came out just for this video, so this is fantastic. I was driving all the way here, it was cloudy, it was starting to drizzle, and the sun actually came out to make this video. That's fantastic. So originally priced $65,000. They sold a lot the first year, and then that was a very expensive car. You remember this went against the Ferrari 348. The 348 was 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. It had shady handling. You had to pull the engine to do the timing belt. So this was the gentleman or the thinking man's Ferrari. This did it instead of 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. The original NSX was 5.7 seconds. So it was faster than a Ferrari, outhandled a Ferrari, outbraked a Ferrari, more reliable, and the running costs were less. But you had an Acura badge or a Honda badge instead of a Ferrari badge. Prices went up to around $80,000 in 95 when they started the Targa. So my original search, I wanted to have a Targa. To me, this is like a third car. For me, it's actually a 7th car, but at the time, it was probably a 3rd or 4th car for me, so I wanted to have the Targa experience. 91 to 94 were all coupes. To try to sell more cars, because most manufacturers believe to sell a car in the US, you have to have a sunroof, they went to a Targa top in 95. Still the same engine, the 270 horsepower, 3-liter 6, which we'll see in a second. This actually has the upgraded 3.2. And then the price went to about 80 grand. Now, the NSX you want, out of the 8,900 cars, 6,800 are what we call NA1s, and it's an NA and a number 1, which is in the VIN number. Those are the 5-speed, 3-liter V6s, basically an Acura Legend engine. So the great thing about that is you have Acura Legend running costs. Then in 97, they kept the Targa. Coupes were only special orders. So after 1995, they only made a handful of coupes a year and a handful of automatic transmissions a year. 97, they bumped up the engine to a 6-speed manual and a 3.2-liter V6 engine. And what's significant about that is they added 20 horsepower, which went to 290 instead of 270. But the biggest thing was shorter gearing with the 6-speed. And I always forget, since my first one was a 5-speed, since it was in 1995, I always forget I actually have a 6-speed. So on the highway, a lot of times I'm driving around in 5th. But anyway, the biggest thing here is it kept you in the VTEC. So the biggest complaint with the old one is that 1 to 2 shift, you dropped out of the VTEC, had to get back up, high up in the revs. This car revs to 8,000 RPM. I'll show you the interior in a minute. And that would result in a slower 0 to 60 time, 5.7 seconds. But remember, when this came out in 91, that was faster than a Ferrari. So only a all-wheel drive 911, a 1991, 1992 Carrera 4 or turbo was faster to 60. That was in the 4-second club. That actually did 4.9 seconds. So out of those 8,900 cars, 6,800 have the smaller engine and the 5-speed. They only made 2,000 cars from 97 to 2005. 97 to 01 had the pop-up headlights. So 01 is a collectible year because it has pop-up headlights. But I'm telling you, the pop-up headlights driving at night is like a dying flashlight. These headlights actually work and you can drive at night with them, the 02 to 05s. 02 to 05s, they only made 862 cars. So that's why these sell for a huge premium because this is the most refined, the best version, the most reliable version, the most power, the best shifter. Now, they always say the Honda S2000, I own one, has the best shifter that there is. This is better than that. So basically an NSX is a Honda S2000 on steroids, except it costs 10 times as much. So this is the final year they made them, 2005. And the rarest color for 02 to 05 is white, and then followed by Long Beach Blue Pearl, which is this color. This color is only in 02 to 05. So if you see pop-up headlights with this color, it's a wrap. Now there are 2 other blues, Monte Carlo Blue and Monaco Blue. That's it. Those are the 2 other blues. That one was like 97 and 98. One was like 99 to 2001, or one of those years may overlap there. And then this came out just for this car. Now, this car was available in a black interior, a tan interior, or a blue interior. Back in the day, they couldn't give away blue interiors. I remember a low mileage Long Beach blue car with a blue interior, which is very rare, was sitting at a Mazda dealer's lot for years, covered in snow, covered in everything, and they wanted 50 grand and had no miles on it, and nobody wanted it because of the blue interior. Now, of course, collectors want that. I think the black interior looks the best over time. I think tan and other colors can fade, so I wanted a black interior with this car. If you follow Rob Ferretti's channel, remember I was on his podcast for 3 years, Super Speeders podcast. He has a blue 04, and he's got the tan interior. So every time I post pictures of this car, people go, look, it's Rob Ferretti's car. It's not. It's Glenn's car if it has a black interior. So what else can I tell you about this car? Okay, so back in 2012, I bought my 95 Targa with a lot of miles on it for $31,000, and that was all the money. Did a timing belt, oil changes, that's pretty much it. When in 2016, when I bought this car, I noticed my 95 Targa had went up from $31,000 to $50,000, and I put a ton of miles on it. I think I had about 80,000 miles on it. I saw this, I put an alert on Auto Trader of a blue 05 NSX, because I figured blue's really the second rarest color. And 05 is the last production year, and I also think the rarest production year, either 04 or 05. And I'd put an alert, if a blue 05 ever came up for sale, I was going to buy it. I had just bought the M2, and my YouTube channel kind of started with that a year later. Same month, I bought my 2016 M2, also in Long Beach Blue, but this is Long Beach Blue Pearl. An alert came up that this car was available in Southern California, so it was about 3,000 miles away. The guy had retired young, I think 40 or 50 years old, sold the tech company or pharmaceutical company, something like that. And he wanted this to go to a good home. So remember, there was a 3-hour time difference. I was eating breakfast at 7 in the morning, getting ready to go to work. I got the alert. I texted him, forgetting it was California, and it was 4 a.m. his time. He actually responded. He said, you're first. If you want it, it's yours. So I found and I don't remember who, out in Southern California, who's the NSX guru, to do a PPI. It passed with flying colors. I believe it just needed new tires, so I negotiated that into the price. I forgot what he was asking, 65, somewhere in that range. I also had to pay $3,000 for shipping because I wanted enclosed shipping, so I paid 60 grand for this car. Values, my black one that I sold for 50 is probably worth 100, depending what the mileage is. This one, a 100,000 mile car would be worth about 100,000 in 02 to 05. A low mileage car like 10,000 miles sells for up to 350 now. A couple of cars just got auctioned off at 350. Prior to that, they were 250. This has 44,000 miles, and it's a clean car, clean Carfax. So I would assume it's all stock except for an exhaust, and I have the stock exhaust for resale value. I would say this car would probably sell for about 150. Now, I think it will be a $200,000 car one day, so I'm holding on to it. So let me show you a couple things. Where is the roof? Well, the roof, there's only 2 latches on each side, and this is the trunk, so it doesn't impede any trunk space, which is fantastic. Before, this car used to own Corvettes, and when you take the target top off, you lose the trunk. So we can actually, let's see if I can do this one hand. There's the target top right there. Stores neatly. It doesn't get hot because it's protected. And then there's your engine. There's your VTEC, yo. So really the only maintenance on this car, besides oil changes, you know, the usual brake fluid, brakes, tires. It's a very light car, relatively. So I haven't changed the brakes at all. I think it had new brakes before I bought it though. And I bought this car with maybe 28,000 miles and now it has 44. This car, the coupes, the early coupes are about 2,990 pounds. These Targets add 150 pounds. So this car is about 3,150, give or take. So it's very light and nimble. The S2000 is more nimble. Why? The S2000 has a short wheelbase. This is a very long wheelbase, so it's very comfortable at high speeds. You can go 80 miles an hour on the highway in 6th gear, no problem with this car. It's very stable. Look how long that wheelbase is. With this, even though with the Targa and the engine, you still have a full trunk here. I can easily fit my hockey bag. You can easily fit at least 1 set of golf clubs. I would say probably even 2 sets of golf clubs. Again, 91% of these cars were made with a manual transmission. And you can see the 6-speed right there. You have a plug, so you can plug in your radar detector. And then I just put a mount for my phone and I plug it in through the radar detector. This is my favorite tachometer ever in the history of the world. It's big, it's analog. Whoops, here we go. And it goes to 8,000 RPM. If you have a GT4 RS, you get 9,000 or a GT3, but hey, I'm a simple man, 8,000 works for me. Even when you're sitting in the car, you put your hands, they fall exactly to this spot, and that's where they put the power windows. The HVAC controls, you actually can bend towards you. So Acura really thought of everything. Now I'm 6 feet tall. I do have to lean the seat a bit back because with the target top on, you don't have that much headroom. I would say probably 6'2", 6'3" is the max in this car, and it would be a tight fit. Even at 6 feet, I don't sit upright. I recline a little bit just to give myself an extra 2 inches of headroom. With the top off, no problem. What else can I tell you about this car? I mean, this is my 2nd set of tires. I've done oil changes. I did, what did I do? Like all the filters, all the fluids changed. That's basically it. I think I've spent, timing belt is about $2,500. Even at the dealer, I had a dealer that had an NSX Tech. You can find a lot of independents that will do it as well. This car is super reliable. This is the most reliable car I've ever owned in my life. If you put the 100 cars I've owned together, they're not as reliable as this one. You could buy one today and drive from New Jersey, where I am, to California. Again, the only mod I have is a Pride exhaust. I forget if it's a V1 or a V2, but I had one on my 95 NSX, and then I just, with the hanger, you could, and an adapter, you can flip it over to this. It just gives it a meteor sound. The car is very quiet from the factory. All right, any questions on the NSX? Let me know below. Again, I've had 9 years, NSXs for 3 years, and this for 9 years. I can't believe it. So this car was a great investment, but I didn't buy it for an investment because they were cheap back then. I bought it because I love to drive. So the number one thing where I think this car is better than any other car, and I've owned McLarens, I've driven Ferraris, Lamborghinis, is balance. One word that describes it, balance. It's just the perfect shifter, the perfect for a back road, just a balanced car that's very reliable. It even gets great gas mileage. You easily get 30s on the highway. Even driving this car hard, you'll still get Mini Cooper gas mileage, 25 or 26 average. It's just an amazing, amazing car. If I could keep one car, it's this. Answered the trivia question, which car has Glenn owned the longest? It's this car. It was my E90 M3 I had for 6 years, but this one I've had for 9. And if you don't like NSXs, you'll see like Jason Camisa, people say, oh, I don't like the NSX. It's because they drove a 91 to 96. A 97 in 2005 is 10 times better. When I upgraded, it was only a $10,000 upgrade to get a 10-year newer car with half the mileage. Actually, a quarter of the mileage, 80,000 to 20,000. But I'm telling you, anybody who's ever driven a 97 to 05 loves the car. You'll see people driving the coupes, 91 to 94. They're not crazy about them. They're very good, but they're not great. The 97 to 05 is great. All right, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I do videos 7 days a week, including YouTube Shorts. And leave in the comments what you want me to review next, and make sure you like this video. Thanks for watching.